grabbing the man in front of him. He forced the man around, using him as a shield while he took out his samurai and started killing those whom his men didn't. Covered in blood, the men that were on horseback were upon him. Wanyanyekova held up his hands. Yo! This is not what it seems. As he lowered his arms to sling the blood off his blade. Seeing Grace behind them covered in blood, for she had disarmed all the men and killed the rest. Wanyanyekova was no longer in a joking mood. I know whom you seek, and I know why you seek him, but my question to you is, do you want to die here, or do you choose another place, maybe even another day to rest? Look behind you and see that your men are all gone. And you do not have any weapons. The men looked behind them and saw there were only 20 of them left. Hold on, said one of the men, but Wanyanyekova interrupted him and threw a star that instantly killed him. No, you hold your tongue, and keep your peace, you Wakatilian dog. Speaking the words of the man, before they were spoken. By now, the rest of the men were surrounded and realized that they didn't have any weapons. Wanyanyekova said, Sent this message to your leader Oedipus. Your first son I killed was out of self-defense, and the other two as well, and all of the corpses you see here will rot, and soon will be dry bones that the animals will pick off for their meals. Unless you have more children for me to kill, or you, yourself want to die, come do it yourself, if you want me dead. But you, too, shall be a feast for the wild animals. I have seen your drugs and money, and they are all destroyed alongside your partner in crime, Abeni B6, for it, too, is dead. It is now your turn, so that I may continue my work for Sabaoth. But I will give you time to repent and send no more after me, and I will leave you alone. Come at me, one more time, I shall surely kill you and all that is with you according to Sabaoth will. Wanyanyekova pointed at another man. You! I see what you want to do, but I tell you, if you want to live another day, that knife, in your boot will remain there. He continued, We are the best of the best. I would imagine after the other attempts on my life had failed, you would have counted your loss and moved on, but men like you are far too gone even to serve Sabaoth. I know this. He will probably have you all killed for this, returning without my head, and his so-called High Commander is dead also. But maybe he won't. The men all stood there confused, and just turned around. No, 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 Wanyanyekova said. These horses and weapons are now mine. You will walk and tell Oedipus and AQ1 that this is no longer their land. No man's land is now Sabaoth's land. 15 men stood there while the rest walked away. One of the men approached. My name is Chimaka, and this is my brother Alborz. We want to stay here with you. Wanyanyekova checked the men to see where their hearts were and looked at them. Welcome. The rest left headed east toward El Paso, and Wanyanyekova and his men gathered up the jet ships, horses, weapons, and whatever rations on the dead men and headed back to camp. Wanyanyekova looked at Obe and Jom as he entered the gate's entrance. There will be a war between Oedipus, and he shall surely die for he is evil. Obe said, That is for certain. Wanyanyekova got on one of the jet ships. How do you ride this thing? Obe said, Training in the morning, after our training with Jamie and Kenji. Wanyanyekova shook his head. Everyone needs to drive one, so training is for everyone. While I'm thinking about it, again, we need those we left behind that Jonathan, Aldhib, hid in the desert. Wanyanyekova paused for a while and smiled. You know what? Leave the GPS tracking on this one, for I have an idea. Well, you better make that too. Sabaoth just made a way for us to get to Aldhib and the rest of them back here quicker. It took them, 8.5 days to get there. How long will we get to them on one of these? Obed said, About 3.5 to 4 hours, or less. Wanyanyekova smiled and shook his head. Sabaoth is able. Obed replied, Indeed, he is. But what is the other one for? Wanyanyekova smiled. Still working on that idea, either way, Oedipus will come to me.